Welcome back, everybody, to more EU4 with me, Daniel. We had a really good few episodes back to back of beating up the Ottomans over and over and over again. This episode, we're dealing with the consequences of that. So, we did use up a lot of our money that we gained, so our nation is going to be significantly more effective. However, we do need to do some cleanup. Profiteering in Cremona. We don't care if Spain hates us. Speaking of which, we're actually going to ally Portugal. I had a quick look between episodes to see how things were. Yes, we're going to use up one Diplo point every month. But here's my thought process. Portugal by themselves are not actually all that helpful. Unless we end up in a scenario where Spain, Austria, and or the Ottomans end up in a coalition against us. If Spain fires a coalition on us eventually, they're going to have to fight Portugal first. And that will buy us a lot of time. Spain also only has 49,000 troops. Portugal has roughly double as many troops as Spain, which is funny. The other thing that would happen is that practically everybody in the Americas would end up at war with each other. Because if Spain declares on us, we're allied to Portugal now as well as Britain. So they would probably lose their Caribbean holding. That would keep them very distracted. But yes, Spain's struggles are very interesting. It's a shame that we do have a peace treaty. Because of the three big nations around us we need to deal with, obviously we can't go on Austria right now, because this is really not in our favour, although I'm still tempted to do it. Maybe a little bit later. And the Ottomans and Spain both have peace treaties, so we just can't touch them. Having said that, Ottomans have 87 aggressive expansion against us. Austria has a very nice number. And Spain has the most of all at 95. They are all going to end up in a coalition against me at some point, unless I keep them on separate peace timers. So this episode, we need to get things called, get our nation under control to some degree, and then try and plot ahead. We do still have the ability to invest in admin tech level 17, level 18 rather, because we're at 17. I still don't know what we're going to pick as an idea group. We can't pick another military group. That is off the table. We can't physically pick it. So I haven't decided if we're going to pick a administrative or diplomatic idea. Apparently this cat wants to be a part of every video in this recording session. I checked your food and water, buddy. They're both fine. Yeah, they're very fine. Silly kitties doing silly kitty things. We don't need exploration or expansion either way. But realistically, in terms of our options, we either want to go religious to make it easier to convert all the nations that we're going to be attacking. So that's an option. It's not a particularly strong one. We could go diplomatic, which is not a terrible one either. Or we could really go in on the maritime side and get a really, really big navy. That's tempting as well. Anyway, we don't have to make that decision yet because I'm not getting admin tech 18 until later when it is cheaper. So future Daniel can worry about that one. Morocco is apparently a great power now too. Speaking of, let's take a look at it. So yeah, Morocco is number 8. Got Poland, Britain, Portugal, Russia, Ottoman, Spain, us. Note that Austria's not in there. They're big, but they're not that big. These guys are slowly going to where they need to go. That's fine. We do have an unassigned merchant because we just embrace global trade. Now, where do we want that to go? We have... So we're in Genoa, we're in Venice, we're in Ragusa, we're in Alexandria and Tunis. We could start pulling away from Constantinople. We could pull from Valencia, potentially. Valencia doesn't really have a lot of money in it, interestingly. I think we're better pulling from Constantinople. Let's transfer trade with Giancarlo Corsini. Let's see how much of it we pull. Could probably go up to speed 4 for the time being. We're not pulling a ton. We're pulling a little bit of a goose and train. And our problem is just we just don't have any ships over there. But we are pulling a little bit. That will change in time as we start getting closer and closer to where we want to be. We have 2 Open diplomats. That's not going to work, so I'll just get you on an ally, because you'll probably want to start buddying up to Portugal, which is exactly what you're going to do. Do we have the ability? We can royal marry them, so we're going to do that as well, while I remember, on the 9th. Thank you. We got our royal marriage with Portugal. Still don't want to invest in that tech. And we are still trying to get all our troops back into order where we want them to be. So this is not a quick process. We have a lot of pieces to these puzzles we're going to have to rearrange. We're also probably still something... We're not over our force limit anymore. So we do have the ability to build a new stack of troops. We don't have a huge amount of manpower, though. We do have to be a little bit careful. 34k stack is fine. We're just going to have you drill. This is a mercenary stack, so it can't drill. And our 29,000 stack is coming down to look after the Italian Maghreb. And we're going to want to go over into our new territory over here. Can we start coring anything else yet? Yes, we can. Kataro can start getting cored. We can convert Bona, or Bona if you want to be really childish about it, like I kind of want to. Can start getting converted. Okay, things are cooling down. I don't think we've forgotten any other stacks of troops. No, we look okay. Poland is looking for money in exchange for favors. That's fine with me. I'm sure we could min-max it a lot more, but that doesn't really feel like it's in spirit with the game. What I do want to do, though, is in terms of... This isn't what I meant to do, but this tells the AI that I'm very aggressively going to want those locations. Actually, what I wanted to do... I have permanent claims on all of them anyway. But I'm wondering... Yeah, they barely have any manpower. I'm just going to sabotage their recruitment. Makes it slower for Austria to grow their manpower back. I'm trying to see if I can... Yeah, I'm not going to get Poland in, is the problem. So, anytime... And we ran into this problem last time. But if we attack Austria, it's very, very difficult to get Poland on board because they really like Austria for some reason. I just don't really know why. So, if I'm going to attack Austria, it means I'm going to have to attack them directly right now because I can't declare on Spain. And it would mean that Württemberg is a junior partner, so they would have to get involved. All of their allies would join. None of them by themselves are really that dangerous. The problem is there's just a lot of them. And most of them aren't just one province miners. Bavaria's quite big within Holy Roman Empire standards. Orleans is pretty big. Picardy's pretty big. Lithuania isn't massive. Well, it's physically very big, but it only has 49,000 troops. Interesting that they are being guaranteed by Russia. Very, very strange. I'm thinking about it, but I need our manpower to recover a little bit first. And like I said, we need to get our nation under control first. There's a lot of provincial unrest. And now that we're in the age of absolutism, you don't really want to just go around and bash the autonomy button on everything. Doing so, I mean, it'll work, but your maximum autonomy, you really want to try and get there if you can. And don't get me wrong, republics have a hard time getting a high maximum absolutism because the whole point of a republic is you're taking, other people's thoughts and, ideas into consideration. You're not a monarchy where it's you, and you. So it's never going to be as high. But as you can see, now that we have 7 absolutism, we do get more discipline. So your troops just do more damage. More admin efficiency, which just makes a lot of things cheaper to run. Your foreign core duration is lower. against you. So it's not an absolute game changer, but it is useful to have. We also have really good relations with our estates right now, so we're going to steal some more land off them. We can also start taking away, if we want to, some of their privileges. So right now the pastor's loyalty defaults at 56 and the burghers at 55. So anything that reduces their loyalty equilibrium by 5% will affect nothing. But some of them give things like governing capacity, so those are the ones that we're probably going to want to keep. We're going to get rid of the Clerical Advisory Council. We don't need it. As for the burghers, we don't need private trade fleets anymore, but I'm going to keep it for now, because it does have a genuine advantage. But as you can see, if we go back to the absolutism, we now have a maximum of 44. Now, if you end up with too much absolutism, it can go the other way. Having too high an absolutism score can lead to some pretty significant problems. We're probably not going to run into it as a republic, but we'll probably find the AI will run into it. The Mamluks are looking to attack Yemen. They would ally me too, but that's an incredibly dangerous alliance to have. And I don't know if our plan long-term will be to form the whole, the actual Roman Empire. Not the Holy One, the actual Roman Empire. It's an option we have. I don't know if we're going to do that or not. That wasn't in my original plan, because that will make this game run on forever. But if we did want to do that, we have to attack the Ottomans, obviously a lot, but we have to attack the Mamluks too, based on the territory right now. Okay, so lots and lots of buildings from the previous episode have now been built. So we should have a bit more of a naval capacity. It's not going to be enormous, but it will be a bit higher. But 92. Like I said, not a huge amount, but every little helps. Get a couple more heavies. We could build our flagship if we wanted to as well. Should we build our flagship? Let's build our flagship. We haven't built one yet. So let's build a flagship in Venezia. So, flagship, we can give it a random name. I don't even know what to call it. I'm terrible at names. I don't know. We're going to call it the Smidsy. If anybody remembers that robot from Robot Wars, give yourself a high five. So we're going to call it the Smidsy. It's going to be a heavy ship. You can make your flagship a galley or a light ship if you're crazy, but we're going to make it a heavy ship. So the difference between this and any other ship is you get to pick 3 traits. Some of them cost more than others, but all of them cost at least something. The most expensive one is this one for mortars. It makes your fleet blockade impact better. So basically, when you're sieging something coastal, you normally have a -2 penalty unless you have some ships there. This actually turns it into a +1. Very, very good, but not really very useful in fights against other ships. So we're not going to pick that. In terms of other options, I like to go for more cannons, because more cannons equals more power. Now, the next option, both of these are good. So command after castle and improved crow's nest. One increases your morale of the fleet, the other increases the engagement width, which means more ships in the battle. They're both very, very good. The other one that's really nice, well, I usually go for hull sheathing, because if you have your flagship sink, the nation that does it gets a big morale bonus. But the other one that's pretty good is the standardized signal book. Now, it doesn't make you any better in combat, but it makes the ships move, and it'll say +1, but that is a pretty significant difference. So you can outspeed any other fleet. It doesn't make the combat any better, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense. But having said that, it's very, very useful outside of the battle. We're probably not going to pick it, but I wanted to mention it because it is useful. Now, in our case, we are probably going to go the way of the improved crow's nest. Getting more ships in the fight, I find, is more useful than anything else. If you've got similar navies on either side. It does mean this one ship's going to have a maintenance of 2.26 gold per month. But it's still worth doing. Can't believe it's the year 1618 and we hadn't made a flagship yet. Sometimes you just forget some things. How much manpower are we getting every month? 1475, it's not bad. I guess now that we've gone through our wave of buildings... no, we'll go this way. I don't want to build these in places that only have one building possible, although having said that, 4,500 manpower from Roma is enormous. For Roma specifically... Okay, they must have something similar. No, I think Roma, I think there specifically, it makes sense, because you get 4,500 more. I'm not going to do it in Ferrara too. Milan, I'm not going to. So we're going to get more manpower. I guess that's fine. Okay, that'll help a little bit. Now, the one province that I'm not sure what I want to build, so in Kosovo, 40 development, because the AI loves gold provinces. What building do we want to build here? Because you can't build, so you can't double down on a gold province by building a production building. It's a shame, but you just can't do it. I don't know what I want to build. This might be a contender. Yeah, for the state house, I think. I don't build the state house very often, but I think it could well be a contender for a state house, just to make it cheaper to run. Ragusa can now be cored. We probably have enough manpower now, too, that we can get... Wow, we don't even have an army template. Did previous Daniel do anything in this game? So we want mostly infantry and cannons with a couple of horses just for flank. So this is going to be the 20 stack. Because when I'm building new stacks of troops, I tend to do it in 20s. Merchants harassed. We don't really care if Toulouse likes us, so we're just going to take the beneficial answer. How far ahead of time are we? Not that far ahead now, so we're 3 years ahead. And we do want to make sure that we keep ahead of time. Again, the bonus is massive. We're nearly capped in our innovativeness, so that element isn't quite so important. But it's still very useful. There is the rebellion that we thought we were going to get. It is in Kosovo. We're going to go beat that up. Oops, I hit the control button, the caps lock button, not the shift button. Only lost 1,200 men, so that's sorted. Where else are we likely to have rebels? Tunis. Which province? The hilariously named one, so that's fine. Don't really need to worry if there's going to be a rebellion down here. It is funny that Tunis can't get rid of the peasants because of the border corps. That wasn't really my intention there, but it is funny. We're going to stop drilling our troops, because we do want to have some morale. And we're going to get ready for war again. Now, we could just go after Milan. If we go after Milan, we don't involve Austria at all. But it does give us the opportunity to finally take these two provinces. The problem is the 56 development between them. So they're going to generate an awful lot of aggressive expansion. Really, our only saving grace is that most of the nations in Europe don't really have any aggressive expansion against us at all, because we've mostly been beating up the Spanish in southern Italy and the Ottomans, and they're not that close to any of that, so they don't care anywhere near as much. Obviously, Morocco hates it, and they could join a coalition if they wanted to, but I'm not that worried about Morocco. Especially because we're allied to Portugal, and Portugal will absolutely demolish them if that was to come to pass. So we might just go and deal with this while we have a moment. It also gives an excuse to bring Britain in. And we still have a million favours with everybody. Yep, we do. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and beat up Milan. Maybe we'll take them out permanently this time, I'm not really sure. But they don't have any allies that concern me at all. Toulouse is going to be mildly annoying, just because they're big enough to be kind of frustrating to deal with and slow, but they only have 13,000 troops, so yes, they might have a lot of physical land, but they don't really have a strong army to go with it. The only other nation that will be annoying, and I can guarantee they'll be annoying, are the Knights. Not because they're dangerous in any way, shape, or form, but just because they're in the way, as we have seen many, many times. And the AI doesn't like to go after them either, because it's really, really bad at dealing with anything in the air. But in the air, at sea. Well, they're bad at dealing with things in the air, I'm sure, too. But that meant the sea. We really don't need this alliance anymore with Sweden. It's just wasting a Diplo slot. But given the current world climate, I feel compelled to still be allied to them, so we're just going to. I think Geneva was the other nation, so let's do that there. Put our 20k stack over here so we have some protection. Actually, no, bring our 20k stack down here. We're going to build 3 more trade ships, even not trade ships, transport ships, even if it makes us go over our limit, and then we're just going to go over and dunk on the knights when they're built. It's fine. Austria has rebels, but they're nowhere near plentiful enough to cause any issues. Got a converted province. Let's start converting Constantina. Portugal, telling us about the popularization of silk fabrics just makes the price of silk higher for the rest of the game by a quarter. Significant chunk change. Okay, we should be able to attack Milan now without any difficulties. We're going to bring in Bohemia and Great Britain just because we can. Do we really care which one the war goal is? It should be Como because it has... has a fort in it. Like that. Turn the speed down so we don't lag like crazy. Interesting that Sweden would actually join in, and just because it's hilarious, let's have them join in. They're going to do nothing, but we might as well have them join because it's funny. Let's take out Pavia, then let's go take that out. There we go, Geneva. 1,000 Milanese troops, but we don't care. Let's go and siege out Toulouse. Austria's dealing with their rebels, which is exactly what you'd expect. Put that in half. Oh, wow, in Poland we get involved. All of our nations want to come in. I'm not going to invite Poland. I want Poland to increase their manpower. Bohemia has no manpower, so they can't really get any less than 0. There is the Toulouse stack. And, wow, Britain was on the pulse. That's strange. You don't usually see Britain moving that quickly. I thought it was going to be more invite them for the memes, but they are actually here. Isn't that cute? And Geneva, you are sieged out already. I'm just going to move that stack over to Friuli because I don't want to get attrition for no reason. Provence tells us the improvement in lens making. They get a load of diplo power and innovativeness, and everybody's price of glass, try and put my teeth in and say it, will be increased for the rest of the game as well. It is that time of the game where We're not into the industrial era, but we're starting to get into the kind of the mid game where a lot of background texts start to be created, so nations start to make a heck of a lot more money. Well, assuming your primary export isn't copper. That is the case. You kind of have a bad time, but everybody else has a great time. We could take Geneva, but we're not going to. Don't need to do it. We're going to force them to change religion just because we can. There you go. You are now Protestant. Enjoy. Oh, and one of our generals, Romeo Pallavicini, can no longer serve because he be dead. And he died the day the siege ended. That was unfortunate. He celebrated too hard and died. And we don't want to sit in those provinces for too long because we don't want a ton of devastation because we want those provinces. There, the rebels finally flying in Tunis. There are all the training fields that we were setting up, built. So our manpower maximum is now 151,000. It's still not in total war numbers. When you get to 200,000, you can start thinking about that. But we are definitely not there yet. You know, with all of Britain's troops on the mainland, it is very, very tempting. I'm not going to do it yet, but it's very, very tempting to go to war with Austria, because here's the thing. In a lot of games, Britain loses all of their mainland European holdings. In this game, they've kept a hold of Calais. They could theoretically just keep all their troops there. Now, trying to assume what the AI will do is very, very dangerous because it never seems to do anything that makes sense to do with sea. But it is a thought. What is also a thought is sitting over here and taking out Toulouse's navy. And those rebels gone bye-bye. We're going to move back towards the Ottoman border in case we end up getting attacked without me paying attention. Can also continue to upgrade. Do we want to upgrade the Duomo di Milano? I mean, it gives you more tax in the province itself, and I mean, it's not great. I guess we might as well, though. We're going to have to use this money on something, and we've still got plenty spare. Oh, there's the Toulouse army getting beaten up by the British army. And now the navy is going to get beaten up by ours. Yeah, their stats at sea are not very good. And we just got 3 ships for free. Unfortunately for me, none of those were transport ships, which is really what I was looking for. Take that 1 ship and go protect Constantinople. We're going to eventually, as our naval limit gets higher, we'll have to start having 2 trade fleets. 1 for the Alexandria trade node and 1 for the Constantinople trade node. The French capital apparently now is Fernando Po, which the AI tends to do. If you only have 1 province in Europe and you have more than 1 overseas, they tend to like to move. Are you going to take out my 1 ship? No, you're not. Okay, good. I thought for a bit that was going to snipe my 1 ship. We did get a trading ship there, though. That's something. Let's get back. How many? Okay, so I'll have 20 at that point. That's perfect. And we do have the ability to recruit. Oh my lord. 4655. 5 points of siege is ridiculous. There is, by the way, that's our flagships. There's Smidsy. We're going to bring that over as well. Are you going to go and chip my 1 ship? Please don't. Okay, you didn't. It's just going to run away. Well, your punishment for that is to have your 1 light ship destroyed. That was very rude. That was very rude. We're near the limit now on admin points. I guess at this point we'll get that level of tech. I don't want to go over and waste points. So we will do it. We'll get level 18 admin, admin tech for national sovereignty. We're just not going to pick our idea group until after this war. We will deal with that later. Combine. Still only have 19. Where's the 20th ship? Did it get killed? Oh, there it is. Transport. Come here. I need you. Who else do we have to deal with? So we have... I've not been taking an exactly enormously proactive role in this war. I haven't needed to. We still have to deal with that province, so we have to deal with Onsbach. That's really about it, so I guess we'll just wander over there and deal with it. Death of a merchant. Do we just want a big old bunch of cash? Or do we want some prestige? Well, we're prestige capped, so it's literally of no benefit to us. Or do we want a half price natural scientist? Which we're probably not going to use. Let's just take the cash. When in doubt, take the cash, right? Money's always good. Too many liberties. No. Go away. It's an event with almost no payoff either way, so it's mostly just flavor text. No thank you, I am good. And our mercenary stack doesn't really have anything to do at this point, so let's just move you back to Friuli in case we do end up wanting to deal with Austria while we're here. Milan wants to peace out. We can't do it yet because we only have 61% war score. I wonder if... And I remember this problem last... Okay, yeah, so this entire state is the same. So Bohemia should get this state. And yeah, it's not as if Poland has a permanent claim on it or anything. So if they want some of that land, I will definitely give it to them. A strong Bohemia is of very, very significant use to me. Get those cord. And then, wow, that's an expensive province to convert, but, you know, we're quite literally doing God's work here, so we'll have to spend some money. Morocco attacked Yen, which must be this tiny space down here. Morocco's getting very big. Luckily, a lot of this land is rubbish. There are quite a few gold provinces down here along all the rubbish. They're probably making good money, but that would be about it. They're still not that dangerous. Although it's funny, they have nearly the same size army as Spain. Spain's army's improved a little bit, but not exactly a ton. Toulouse can be pieced out now. As much as I would love to take some of their land right now... Oh, I'm tempted. So this state, this is a very high value state, as you may have noticed. Really, the only state that isn't worth a huge amount is Carcassonne. Everything else is worth at least 23 development. Now that's great, but very, very expensive. And look at the aggressive expansion you'd get. Everybody would hate us if we did this. It's the exact same problem we had last time. I mean, just to break things up a little bit, I'm tempted to do this. Because if I can break these guys up enough, eventually I might just be able to vassal them. I'm just going to do that. Break them up. That will mean I have to have a guarantee over Gascony, which is fine. They would accept being vassaled as well. So that's something to bear in mind. That is potentially very, very useful. And we may have to say goodbye to Sweden's alliance if we... Yeah, we should probably do this. This guy's idle, so we're going to improve relations immediately. This might be a nice way of having another project to eat some of Spain's territory later. Or some of France, if we're going to go the restore the old Rome thing. Still not convinced we're going to do that, but it'll give us an option. So now that we have our full 20 transports, we want to attach this and go over here. We're still making crazy money every turn, despite the fact we're horribly over the limit. Also, are we sieging this or is somebody else? Okay, Britain's actually sieging Ansbach, so I don't even need to be there. So I'm not going to be there. Bye! Can we piece anybody else out while we're at it? Not really. Okay, we'll wait. We can now move everything over to roads. Won't be an immediate stat wipe, but it'll be very, very quick. Also, I'm in the wrong sea zone again, aren't I? I did this last time. I was looking at it going, why is this going to take so long? Pretty sure I'm in the wrong sea zone. I'm pretty sure it is the Gulf of Satalia that I have to be in. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 99% sure I did that last war with the Knights too. I just always forget every single time. This time I'm going to break their alliances because I don't want to deal with them again. The Ansbach is still being sieged. Luxembourg is still being sieged. Why did they give me claims here? I don't want them. Very polite of Bohemia, but I don't want them. They probably don't want them either based on that, but let's do that for a moment. They are at... Why are they only at 64% war score? What do they not have sieged? I don't know. So we'll just leave it alone for now, I guess. I don't know. Do they have a junior partner? Oh, Ansbach, that's why. We worked it out. Wasn't a very difficult puzzle, admittedly, but we worked it out. Got there sooner rather than later. Ottomans have more particularists. They're back up to 74,000 troops already, by the way. It's craziness. Oh, one of our generals just died too. Well, doesn't that suck? I don't know which general it was, but it's sad that it happened. We already have a call for peace because Milan has unconditionally surrendered. So we need to start getting this done immediately. I mean, in all honesty, at this point, we might as well just do this and this. That's 39 aggressive expansion. That's really not that bad. And because this is unconditional, well, what do they want? So do they have claims on anything that they want here? They don't have claims on anything. So let's do a little bit of cleanup for them. So Saxony and Anhalt, they do have that. So let's just do this instead. So if you take Berlin, I did not mean to click that way. Okay, it would be too expensive. But we can give them this, which will make them very happy. Not that it matters, but it will make them very, very happy. We could also give them Halle. I mean, we might as well. Oh, I don't have enough. I hate when it does that. Yes, it's funny, if you shift and left mouse button to set as much as they're willing to accept, they can go over 100%. Which is just silly. Anyway, there we go. Bohemia gets a couple of provinces. And we get a couple of provinces. Makes their border very, very strange looking, but yeah, we want quite a strong Bohemia, preferably. that is not an area we're looking to expand into. So if we can have quite a strong Bohemia, I'm game for that. Anyway, Milan no longer exists, so that's cool. We do want to pick an idea group. So if we just wanted more and more money, we could go economic. We could even go human, you know, for the humanist idea. Don't get me wrong, humanist is certainly better earlier on in the game, but this is still useful. The other thing that's worth noting is, now that we're in the age of absolutism, it's always nice to take a look at if there's anything in here that we would look to go to. Because right now, we technically don't match up against any of these. We don't have a land force limit of 200, but that's probably the one we're going to get easiest to. Obviously, we weren't part of the religious war. We don't have 5 different promoted cultures because we don't need them. We're not China. We're never going to have an absolutism of at least 90. We are probably going to get 5 universities. If anything, we'll build some just to say that we have. And we're not going to have 3 different trade companies. It doesn't really change a huge amount what we might pick as an idea group, but it makes you think. And we can... I mean, I know I said it before, we can technically have a military group. But I feel like you shouldn't, but you can technically have a 3rd group out of 5 be a military group. We could just go naval ideas, and it's incredibly boring in terms of options. Not a very exciting choice. It doesn't give a huge amount of great options to, except if you wanted to go for money. So fortified trading posts. So naval and trade ideas together do give you fortified trading posts. Makes light ships a little bit cheaper, which is fine, but it gives you 40% more ship trade power. That's enormous. Other than that, though, nothing in here is really all that good. I mean, galley combat ability is fine, but I'd rather use a heavy ship, by and large. And you do get heavy ship combat ability 20% increased, eventually. But it might just be worth going for maritime, so this isn't that useful. But then there's more soldiers modified, but Marines force limit being up is kind of helpful. Sheltered ports gives us just cheaper ships and faster repair. It's the Grand Navy, though, that would really come in. So 50% naval force limit modifier is enormous. Cheaper ships, meh. 1 extra leader without upkeep is very meh. Blockade efficiency, though, can be helpful. Not massively, but can be. This is the real winner, though. So if you have full maritime ideas, ships can repair in coastal sea zones. So you don't have to have them hide at a port. They will heal passively as long as you're in a coastal sea zone. And you get faster movement. This is enormous. Now, when you look at what we could combine with right now, maritime can combine with actually a few different things. So we have quantity, which gives you cheaper galleys and better galleys. New naval tactics with innovativeness. Heavy ship combat ability and naval leader maneuver. That's pretty good. And then you have, with offensive, hold the weather gauge, which makes your naval leaders have more maneuver, which means more combat width and more durability, which is pretty good as well. We're going to go maritime. I've talked myself into it. I almost never go for it, so it feels like it might be something a bit more fun. But we don't need to rush the first idea, so we're probably just going to increase our tech levels. We also have the option of improving a couple of buildings, so do we want to go for the final level of the Santa Maria del Fiore? Yes, we do. Cheaper advisors and more splendor every month is just winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's a very, very good building. We also have an extra, just sitting here, an extra transport, I guess. That's fine. I guess we can just move these guys back now. War's over. So we'll move our 20k stack back to Rome so we can let... that's interesting. Okay. Sure, if you want to take a longer track back, I don't mind. There'll be less attrition if he's walking along land, I guess. Rising support among the Umbrian population. Awesome. I'm fine with this. Are you actually going to walk across? No? Okay, let's just take you home then. The way I planned to do it in the first place. Other thing we want to do is take that one naval ship that's out by itself right now, the light ship that's trading in Constantinople. I know we're way over our limit, but I still want to do it anyway. I don't want it to be alone. 11 ships at least has some level of defense. We will be very, hopefully in the near future, expanding our limit on that, so I don't see it really being a problem. What I do see being a problem is, wow, I didn't realize we were talking for this length of time. So, next episode, we're going to decide, do we want to attack Austria? Spain is still in a peace treaty with us for another 4 years. The Ottomans are in a peace treaty for another 8 years. We're going to have to make a decision sooner rather than later. We'll make that decision next episode. I appreciate you watching. Shows how good, well, how much fun I'm having that I forget how long the episode's gone for. So, yeah, appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now. Thank you for watching the video, and if you'd like to see more, feel free to stick around.